will be beneficial for us to understand what our flows will be in the first 20 years, and whether this direction from council saying you're going to stay within the master plan flows, which is the ultimate flow, or acknowledging that things have changed and we need to review that again. It's not within the working group's terms of reference to review flows. I don't think it's an appropriate forum to discuss it. And I guess my feeling for that is it is a Lambton Shores issue. It's not a South Huron Lambton Shores joint issue. I don't think it's correct that another municipality shall have input on something that's ultimately a policy issue of ours. So I think it's something, again, we need to turn our minds to of how we want to address it, whether Stantec would be a good candidate to retain to help us do that flow projection, or whether or not it's something you want staff to do. At the end of the day, council has to stand behind these numbers, and I think it lends some credibility to the process that it's done by a professional engineer. Just my 2 cents.
Councilor Mons.
I guess you're right. We're getting into an area here. I'm wondering if we should move this to a strategic planning day, because that's really what we're talking about. If we're going to be looking at changing the parameters, I can see what you're doing. I can see the challenge you have. I guess there's different ways of going about it. You can do, option A with ESR intact and the flow rates intact, and then I guess if this thing has changed and Stantec says, well, you might not have these over the years, that's plan B. I don't know, but I think it's
I guess we need to clarify with the working group what their mandate is and where they're going. I don't know when the next meeting is. Can they have some kind of report back to us? The flows that we have adopted as a council have been, we have a couple times, but these are the planner and our engineer have brought flows to this council, and we have approved them. If those rates are used for the development of the plant, we don't have to question how they come online, and when they come online, it is up to the council of the day at the time, and whether there's more comes online. We have accepted flow rates. If we're going to reconsider that, then I think it's a reconsideration. Deputy Mayor Day.
Yeah. I don't think that there's any reconsideration of the flow rates in the master plan ESR. That's a given, and that's not under question. But that's the long range expectation. So the question is, we have to define what we're going to do in 20 years, which is a design line. We don't need to overbuild things that may never be used. Who knows? You have to say realistically what can happen within 20 years, or then we're paying for operating fees and costs that we don't have any kind of flow to pay for, right? We're just putting the weight on the existing users, which is unreasonable. So the question is that is where our dilemma sits, and so I do believe we need professional assistance to define that, and someone objective. And council's also given direction already that zones 3 and 4 will probably not be done in the first 20 years. So those things have clarity.
I don't know that we've made that as a motion.
No.
No.
That was made as a motion, yes. Yes, we decided that.
No.
Yes, no, it was one of those later night decisions, but it was defined. So,
I believe we've made that motion.
Could I just offer, I see your dilemma, and I see the group's dilemma, because what you're saying is if depending on the infrastructure that you need, it may determine
the alternative uses.
Yeah, the alternatives that you have. So, but I'm just wondering then, if we go with what's in the ESR, as I said, as this plan, and whatever alternatives would address that, and then plan B would be the immediate.
Yes.
Right.
20 years.
Yeah, and I think that would solve the. I don't. We can't ignore the ESR. We can't, because this council said. But at the same time, I think you're right. I think it's fair to say with this alternative, you have to look at. Here's the implications. If we look at this alternative, it might not match 20 years down the road. So I agree with you on that. But I'm wondering if we can just do that. You have two scenarios, and
let's leave that with. They'll take that back to the committee. I don't want to have any more discussion here. I don't want to have any motion tonight. We never had any notice of this discussion coming up. We knew that the draft minutes of the committee were here, but it wasn't on the agenda to talk about capacity. I think the committee is going to have to work. The committee is going to have to work that out. It is a Lambton Shores issue on our flows. It's not a water issue, they have to make their decisions, we have to decide what our flows are. So I think that will
So
have to be
we'll get a
brought back,
directive. It'll be good.
we'll get
That's
a
fine.
directive from the working group on how to do that.
That's fine.
Anything staff wants to add to that?
I just think at some point in time, we're just going to be the working group from direction of the 20-year estimate is the ESR, the 20-year estimate is this. I don't know if there's, I prefer not to bring this up on the agenda of the working group again.
Okay.
That's just my own personal feeling, because I do believe that I don't want to waste a lot of time speaking about Lantern Shores flows in that venue when we should be
That's right.
spending money on the actual.
So if we use the numbers that we have adopted here from our staff reports, and if there needs to be an adjustment to that when the alternatives come in, we'll bring it back to us. Dr. Mayor Day?
No, but the problem with that is that's too large, right? We're going too far, and there's a lot of variables within that we need professional assistance. Whenever things change, right? And we have, I mean, even the issue about whether South Bend Estate is going to be sold or a power sale or something like that. There's
Those
variables.
allocations have been made.
Those are issues that we do have to talk about realistically, right? So, and we need professional assistance to make these decisions. And there's no value in us making a plant that is double the size of what we need and paying for that operating, which would be the case if we just accept the numbers at status quo right now. So let's get firm numbers, let's get an engineering assistance to define that. And if you don't want to make it the decision tonight, that's fine, but the next meeting, we probably should give it more consideration and then make a final decision at the next meeting, whether or not we can hire Stantec to help us with that decision.
Maybe make that motion for the next meeting.
The notice of motion.
That
I'll make that notice of motion.
Can we
That's
ask
Stantec.
for, I guess, a report on flows from our director?
Well, I understand what the deputy.
On how we come up with the flows.
Yeah, I understand the picture's changed, we know that, but over the 20-year cycle, the environmental study review is still in effect.
Yep.
So, but I understand your point, what you're saying, and I agree with you in terms of the immediate, that I think you want to, maybe we need a scaled version of what that means, so that alternatives would match the scaled
Maybe we
version.
should just let
Councillor,
the director
I
of
think
services
just
do
let-
a report.
I'd like
just, we're way out of 7.4 here, we don't have a motion, we don't have, we're discussing something that wasn't on the agenda. You want to follow the rules or not? Councillor Illman?
I guess if we're going to be discussing this at a future meeting, when we should, and put it on the agenda instead of now, like this,
Yep.
then we do need a report through
Yep.
from the Director of Community
Fine.
Services
Yep.
outlining what we've already approved and that option, and then
Whether it needs to
a
be
second,
refined or
a
not?
second possibility, does it need to be refined or not?
Okay. We're going to ask for a report from the director.
Yep.
Second by Councillor Scott. All in favor? Carried. Just asking for a report. Councillor reports. Councillor Russell. Councillor McGuire. Nothing to report. Councillor Scott.
I have lots to report. On May the 8th, the Port Franks Police Committee, I'm going quickly, recruiting new members. They've got a new secretary treasurer, and they're joining with Wash to present an info night on July the 11th, 2012 at the Port Franks Community Center at 7 p.m. May the 9th was the Wash Police Committee. They did a discussion on the new OPP model, and they also were talking about joining with Port Franks group to do this July 11th evening. May the 9th, I attended the Port Franks Caring Quilter Open House. It was well attended. They had displays on quilting techniques from choosing fabric to completion. I've made over 800 quilts for victim services, and a few other groups that requested them had a number of quilts around the room.